Hello and welcome back. This is Borahla here. Let's talk about believing and doubting again. But this time, let's talk about it from perspective of different theorists. You see, new theorists often get some of their best ideas by considering the ideas of a previous generation. In fact, it is often the case that a new approach is born out of doubting the last one. In other words, often these approaches will demonstrate sharp contrasts from one another. As a result, what ends up happening is that we often move from one extreme to another extreme. This concept, which exists in fields such as economics, art, science, music, literature, will be referred to as the pendular swing, meaning the tendency for one movement to replace another movement through a reaction of the perceived deficiencies of the former. For example, in art, we have two movements at extreme ends of the pendulum. First, we have abstract expressionism. This type of art appeared around the 1940s and 1950s at the end of World War II and focused mostly on various shapes and colors representing a mixture of emotions and expressions. Two famous works from this period are number 1, Lavender Mist, done in 1950 by Jackson Pollock. At the other end of the pendulum, we have the photorealism movement. This type of art came out in direct contrast to the abstract expressionism movement. This type of art appeared in the 1960s and 70s and focused on creating recreations of realistic scenes, often taken from a photograph and adding artistic enhancements to make the scene even more vivid and lifelike. Two famous works from this movement are Self-Portrait, done in 1969 by Chuck Closey, and McDonald's Pickup, done in 1970 by Ralph Goings. This has been true in the language teaching for the last 130 years or so, but especially the first 100, from about 1880 to 1980. This moving from extreme to another is something we want you to pay close attention to as you form your own ideas and ground yourself in a more balanced approach. This does not mean that you cannot choose sides. It rather means that we want you to gain as much information as you can, suspend judgment for a time, and then make educated decisions about who, what, why, and how you believe what you believe to form your own philosophy about language teaching. At the end of each presentation of an approach, we will try to show you best practices based on research studies that come from each of these theories. In other words, rather than swinging back and forth like monkeys on a vine, we would like to consider what good was learned from each approach and what we can take away with us through an examination of each period in language teaching history. Alright, enough introductions. In the next video, we are going to go back to the 1880s to discover a very interesting approach to learning a language that was all over the United States and many other parts of the world, and it's called the grammar translation approach. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next video.